Hello everyone, today we are looking at the 23rd greatest move of all time. This move is coming from a game between Karpov and Korchnoi, 1974. This one was tough because there are at least 3 moves in this game that could have earned the 23rd best move. But we did have to choose one, and we're going to look at it. This video is going to be a little bit different. Normally, the pieces stop moving, and that means we've reached the key position. But in this case, to really understand the move that we chose, to understand why it's such an amazing move, you have to look a little bit earlier and see what's going on. So, in this position, white has this rook and this queen that want to come smashing, crashing in on the h7 square, but that cannot be done yet because this pesky little knight on f6 is stopping that. So white wants to get that knight out of the way, right? How does white do that? You could envision where this knight on c3 hops in, but you can't do it yet because if you do it now, the rooks are going to come crashing in, and it's too early. You got to set it up a little bit better. So, you'd like to push this pawn, but then the rook, then the queen might come crashing over. So you might try to block it with the rook so that these pieces can't defend this pawn push. Also, not the right answer. The right answer in this position is to just go ahead and push that pawn. Just throw it out there. And the reason this works is now this pawn is obviously attacking the knight. So the rook is going to come and grab that pawn, sacrificing that pawn to block what black wants to do to get involved here. So what's the next move that white plays, which is another amazing move, and was actually one of the first moves that I thought might be the greatest move in this game. White blocks the path between this rook and this queen. It cuts off communication so that now this rook is hanging. It's being attacked by the queen, and obviously the rook is attacking the queen. So what does black basically have to do here? He has to take that rook. And then now the knight can come hopping in. Different position because there's now not 2 rooks on the c-file that we're going to be able to come crashing in. And the threat is obviously knight takes knight, and white is going to come crashing in like he wants to. So in this position, what does black do? Black defends with e8. Again, the idea here is if knight comes crashing in now, you see the evaluation bar tell you it doesn't work because even though you take back, crashing in, boom, I'm getting what I want. Nope, the king moves to e7 and is nice and safe on that square. And not only is he safe, but now this rook is attacking the queen, so white's going to have to move his queen. And black is up a pawn because white sacrificed, and now black is in control. So not able to take in this position. So in the game, white brings in some more reinforcements. Now he has 2 knights. This knight wants to come flying in here. What does black do? Black goes bishop to c6. And now you're thinking, okay, maybe it works now. And again, the evaluation bar tells you it does not, because even if you take here, and this is going to be a similar situation where the king is going to go hide, and black is attacking the queen, so that does not work. And the final piece of the pie that we need to look at to understand the amazing move is that another option in this position would be knight takes, and then knight to h5. Looks like a nice move, right? It's threatening, actually it's threatening just to checkmate, because let's say that black falls asleep, takes this pawn, mate in 1 because of checkmate, and if you're able to defend that square somehow, let's say you go here, No. That's what black wants to do, right? Because so let's say that let's say that black goes here. It's still mate. Is there any way to stop the mate on G7? I don't even know that there is actually. Yeah. So, but that's what black wants to do. Black wants to bring the queen over here and check. You would trade queens, and now even though this knight is going to fork the king, steps up and picks up the rook. This, as the evaluation bar tells you, is just a dead draw because even though white has the rook for the bishop, he's down a couple of pawns, so the material is even, and black's going to be able to hold on to this game with a draw. So all of that takes us back to the key move in this position. We'll go back a couple moves. So now take a little while, given all that information. I hope you got it all. It was a lot. But given all that information, now it's white's turn to move. He's up a lot. He's up 4.5 points. So if he can just make the correct moves, then he will win. What does white do in this position to shut down all of black's counterplay? You can take a while to look at this one, and if you solve it, pat yourself on the back. Just like this. I shouldn't be patting myself on the back because I did not figure out this move. Hopefully you do. Write it down in the comments. Let me know if you solved it. In this position, white plays the magnificent pawn to e5. So easy, so simple, so beautiful. What does that move do, right? Because everything we just saw, why does pawn to e5 solve all the questions? Because in the game, we see how this plays out. What does black do here? If black takes the knight, then he just gets mated because now he can't defend fast enough. We'll see what that looks like. That's a very simple checkmate. So he cannot do that. And if he takes with the bishop, which is what he did in the game, then takes. And if black takes back, now I'm crashing in. King's moving over. Check. And I can't come with a check yet with the rook, right? Because it would get taken by the queen. But instead, I can come with that check. And if the queen takes it, rook over to e1, king moves out of the way, and game over. So the key thing from this e5 move is that this pawn actually ends up blocking all of black's attempts to try to equalize by moving queen to g5, the check, and then exchanging pieces like we saw earlier. And so not only does it block all of that, but it also keeps, it keeps the attack going, right? Like this looks like this knight is being attacked by 3 pieces all at the same time, but it actually does not matter which one takes it or if black just leaves it alone. Everything he does loses the game. So a couple of amazing moves. Karpov, sacrificed that pawn on g5 that we saw earlier, and then he sort of forces black to move his rook back and forth so that he doesn't have 2 rooks doubled up on the c file, and then eventually forces his way in and either forces this knight to get out of the way, he ultimately forces that knight out of the way, and then comes in with the queen and the rook. So this was all a huge setup to come crashing in on the h7 square. So I hope you liked that e5 move. I found it particularly nasty because it was very simple. I think this may be the only pawn move in our 50 greatest moves series. I might have to double check that. But if you're interested in seeing more in our series, the list is down there. And I hope you are learning something from our videos. Like and subscribe. Okay, thanks for watching.